We're going to go from one river all the way over to the other river, the Mystic River, and talk about Mystic a little bit. And Mystic itself, by default, is collaborative because it's both Groton and Stonington. So our next speaker is Stephen Clemente. He's the founder and owner of Extra Virgin Olive Oil in the Old Mystic Village. And he owns the adjacent honey store called Sticky Situations. And I never realized how many variations of oils and honeys there were until I went to his store. It was like a whole slew of them. You can taste every one of them, by the way, so you want to make your way in there. He has an undergraduate degree in computer science and a graduate degree in education. And he's worked in that education arena for a while. But being a connoisseur of fine wine and fine food, I think he found his niche opening up Extra Virgin Olive Oil. In addition to running his own business and talking to tourists and customers every day, he's also the chairman of the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce, and I believe the president of the Old Mystic Village Merchants Association. So he has quite an interesting perspective of all things important to Mystic. So Stephen, if you could.
So good morning, everyone. It's good to see everyone here. And my comments are going to dovetail a little bit. They're also going to talk about just kind of a general climate and then what I think we can do to address some of those particular climate issues that are out there. So first of all, thanks Al, thanks Susan for having me here today. The world that we know, the world that we live in, from a travel and tourism perspective and from a retail perspective, changes every day. I don't think that comes as a surprise to people, but if I were to just survey people 10 years ago and ask them how many people have a cell phone, half of the room would have raised their hands. 5 years ago, everybody would have raised their hands, and now everyone in the room during the course of the next 2 hours is probably conducting business on their phone. And subsequently, when you think about that, there is a number of different factors that are coming into play. How do we, as a community, deal with that? Because we are only as good in many ways as our latest review. We are a society that is based now on, I had an experience, the experience was either positive or negative, and I want to talk about it. And not only do I want to talk about it with my friends, but I want to talk about it with anyone and everyone who will listen to what I have to say. That creates opportunity, and if we are smart, we can capitalize on that opportunity. But we need to be cognizant of the fact that there are a number of challenges out there. If I said to you, Payless Shoes, if I said to you, BCBG, if I said to you, Eastern Outfitters, if I said to you, Radio Shack, the commonality is they've all filed for bankruptcy this year. If I said to you, Sears, Macy's, JCPenney's, they all will file for bankruptcy this year. We need not look any farther than this cadre of core businesses that set the tone for 50 or more years. But what was the problem? They simply did not evolve. Plain and simple. The idea was, we build it, people will come, okay, the end. What did they fail to do? What was the signature piece that they missed? It was not about price. It was not about selection. It was not about location. What was it about? It was about there was no experience. There was no experience. In the modern day world, if you want something, it doesn't matter what it is, you basically have it in the palm of your hand. You can research it, you can find it, it could come from all over the world, and it can be to your door in 2 days. That is the world that we live in. I used to own Amazon stock when it was $145 a share. I sold it at like $190. I thought I had done the greatest thing in the world. Now, when you look at it from the perspective, they have changed the way that people shape overall buying patterns. Doesn't matter what it is. When you think about how Amazon started, it was about books. Books, people. That's what it was about. Now, it's everything and anything. For me, in my particular shop, people ask me all the time, they say, Stephen, you must send olive oil all over the place. And I say, no. And they say, well, I don't understand. And I say, I'm trying to create an experience. And I said, you can't taste olive oil online. It's not, you just can't do it. All of us have a job in this room, no matter what industry we are in, from financial services to retail, to travel and tourism, to hotel and lodging. It makes no difference. We must resonate with the customer, and we must do so in a way that they leave us and they say, Mystic, Groton, New London, Stonington, they all created an experience. But that is simply not good enough. The experience itself must be twofold. It must be unified, and it must be collaborative. We have, as a community, on many cases, over the past number of years, said to ourselves, well, this is what we do in Stonington Borough, and this is what we do in Groton, and this is what we do in downtown Mystic, and this, and the on and on and on. Gang, fundamentally, the only people who see these communities this way are us. That's it. The rest of the world does not see it that way. They are coming to Mystic in their eyes. That's why they are coming. When they come, we want to create an experience that says, Mystic is wonderful and it's far-reaching. Here's how we tie that together. But it only takes one negative experience for the person to decide that he or she or their family does not want to come back. From a retail perspective, we must do a couple of things. We are at the tipping point when it comes to market saturation. When you think about where are we, what do we have too much of, I think it may be obvious. What do we not have enough of? Well, I can tell you that what we don't have enough of is made here in southeastern Connecticut, staying here in southeastern Connecticut, and allowing people to come here because this is the only place in the world you can get it. We have to do more of that. We're doing that on the fine dining, local dining perspective. We have some of the best restaurants not only in Connecticut, but on the entire eastern seaboard, and in many cases, some of the best restaurants in the entire world. But how do we evolve past that? We're starting to see more and more entrepreneurs come into the area. For those of you who don't know, I used to live just south of Boston when I started my business 7 years ago. I would drive 90 minutes each way. There are a lot of communities in between point A and point B that I could have chosen, but I chose to come here. Why? I will tell you why. Because as a child, I went to Old Mystic Village to feed those ducks. Those ducks were the experience. It had such a profound impact on me that I decided later on in life, this is what I want to do. We need more of that. Look in your own backyard. Look down the street. Look from one river, as Al mentioned, to the other river. We should no longer see geographic boundaries. We must tie this community together. We must tie it together with a thread of innovation. We must tie it together with uniqueness, and we must tie it together with experiences. Experiences that people can share. All of us are in the business of marketing. All of us, every single person in this room. What we are marketing and how we are marketing, we all spend countless amounts of hours on and countless amounts of dollars. But what is the best marketing? What has it always been? Word of mouth. And in the modern day age, word of mouth is largely centered on, I had the experience, and right this second, I want to tell everyone about it. Think about your businesses. Think about the businesses that you help serve. Think about the last thing that you did that was so memorable that you couldn't wait to tell everyone and anyone about it. How do we foster that climate here? How do we bring it to Mystic? How do we bring it to Groton? How do we bring it to New London? How do we bring it to Stonington? Well, the answer is we bring it in a unified voice. If the person comes to Mystic and they're staying for 1 day, what is our goal? To get them to stay for 2 days. How do we do that? We create experiences that say, I can't see it all in 1 day. We have got to work together. The idea of this is my section, and this is your section, and this is how it's going to work, that's old thinking. It's old thinking. I see it every day in the village. For those of you who are not familiar with the village, because I hear this all the time, you know what? I'm local. I don't think I've been to the village in 10 years. Okay, that's not good. We need you to come. We need local support, because from the local base, that pulse, that vibe, that energy, if you will, that's what people feel. Right now, we are going through a transformative stage. If you think about downtown Mystic a few years ago, people were asking, what's going on? Why are there all these empty stores? Now look at it, bustling. Unbelievable amounts of people. You walk down, you can't even walk down the sidewalk. People are everywhere. There has been a re-innovation, an invigoration into that particular section of Groton, but into Mystic. I live on Water Street. At every hour of every day, all I hear is people talking about, that was amazing. We need more of that in every aspect of what we do. The village right now is going through a transformative stage. As I see it happening, I'm trying to get local businesses to understand that what is it that you create? And they answer, well, and I say, no. It doesn't matter what the product is. What is it that you create? And they look at me like, what is he talking about? And I'm like, you create memories, you create experiences, and that is the reason why people come back. So how are we going to do that? The people in this room are going to help shape that. As we shape that particular process, there are a few things that we need to be mindful of. We need to be mindful of the fact that we control what it is we want to be able to do and how we're going to do it. As I wrap this up, I want to bring us back 5 years October. 5 years this October will be Hurricane Sandy. Can you believe it? 5 years. Many of us remember that very, very vividly. In the wake of that particular storm, the entire Jersey Shore was basically obliterated. We had our own challenges, rest assured. But we, this community, benefited from the lift. And in 2013 and in 2014, everyone came here. But then the Jersey Shore was rebuilt. Folks, make no mistake, we have a decision to make in 2017. Because if we don't evolve this community, they will go to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. They will go to York, Maine. They will go to the Cape and the Islands. They will go to Newport, and they will go to the Jersey Shore. We've created something in the wake of that storm. It is incumbent upon us to grow that, and it is incumbent upon us to grow that through collaboration and unification. Thank you very much for your time.